Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Fasciano. Today's Friday, which means I have another episode of a Battle of the Bottles or a Bottle Battle, whatever you want to call this. I have a whole bunch of random samples selected by myself for one reason or another in my sample pool. I selected these two today. They're labeled on the bottom. I don't know what they are yet. I'm a Whiskey Promiscuous channel, so it could be just about anything. If you're new here and you don't know how this works, I'm going to pour them, nose them, taste them, give you some notes, and then spend some time with them off camera, get an idea of which one I like the most, and then when I come back at the end, I will reveal to you which one I like the most. And I can tell you right now, these are peated. There is nothing but smoke and smoked meats and campfire and Band-Aid. Just the whole gamut of peat is just radiating out of these glasses. And then at the very end of the video, I will reveal to myself what I've been drinking and which one I prefer today. If you're new to the channel and you like this information, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Just go ahead and click on that little subscribe button. I also have a November giveaway. The rules to that giveaway are in the description below. If you're looking to support the channel in some way, there's a little heart with a $sign in it. I think that's called a super thanks. Any increment of $5 donated gets you one entry into the giveaway. All right. I don't know what I started with last time, but I'm going to go ahead and go with what appears to be the lighter one on the right. So because they're peated and the strength of the peat, I'm guessing that these are going to be peated scotches. I don't think I have an American peat or an Irish that is this vibrant or this strong. So my initial guess, peated scotch. Salty, briny, vanilla, a little bit of tobacco, and it's stinging the nose a little bit. So I'm thinking this is also pretty proofy. The peat, and if you're also new here, when I talk about peat, in general, it falls in three categories: Band-Aid and iodine, medicinal. Right in the center, I get like a campfire, a wet log, campfire smoke. And then on the far side, I get a meat, a smoked meat, savory. This comes across as a little bit medicinal and a little bit smoky. Get a little bit of char also. And that's separate than a smoke note. So I guess there's a little bit of a barrel influence, maybe oaky. Yeah, that vanilla note, that sweeter note is also starting to come through a little bit more. The longer it's in the glass, the less peated it gets, but I'm also to the point where I'm starting to become peat blind. So I don't know how strong of a peat note this actually is. Whatever it is, it smells absolutely fantastic. My mouth is watering, so let me go ahead and get this thing on the palate. Oh man, that is delicious. Medicinal peat still, a little bit of a smoky campfire. That vanilla and oak note is coming through. Definitely salty, definitely briny. The further or the longer that it lasts on the tongue, that finish is coming across as salty and briny. That's wonderful stuff. Ooh, and it is heating my chest up. So I'm guessing that this is a little bit higher in proof, more than 46%. Wonderful stuff in that glass. Let me get a rinse of water and move on to glass number 2. All right, glass 2. Glass 1, man, it is sticking around. After having a little bit of water, there is a little bit more of a peat note that is coming through on the finish that's a little bit more medicinal than campfire. That's wild how that a little bit of water, just that residual water in my mouth, brings out some different notes on that finish. Okay. Smells a little floral, a little fruity. Smoked meats. Very savory, very luscious. I don't know if luscious would be a good word, but it smells like it's going to be very silky, very viscous on the palate. I think the dog next door also agrees. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of sulfur, a little bit of raisins, dates, figs, and plums. You know what? I wonder if this is finished versus non-finished. Just based on the color, I'm wondering if this is some sort of sherry cask finish and this is some sort of maybe bourbon. If they're peated and there's a difference in color. I don't know. But they definitely smell like peated scotches. Yeah, I'm getting some chocolate and tobacco in here as well. This smells amazing as well. All right, a little bit of proof to it. That last inhale of through my nose is also stinging the nostrils a little. Yeah, I'm getting chocolate, vanilla, sweet, smoke, sweet tobacco smoke, savory, sweet smoked meats, like a burnt barbecue sauce, along with the meat. Wow, this one's making my mouth water as well. All right, let's go ahead and get this one on the palate. Oh, man, that is good too. We're getting into the colder months in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, if you don't know. When it gets cooler, my palate tends to lean a little bit more towards the peated whiskeys that I have. These are both amazing, and they are both offering something different. On the palate, I do get a smoked meat side of things with the peat. There's a little bit of char. I get a little bit of bitterness. I get chocolate and tobacco. I think that sulfur note is showing up a little bit, which makes me think whether this is matured or finished. I think that's kind of a note that I get with something that is sherry cask matured or finished. A little bit of vanilla, not getting salt or brine like I did in this one. I tell you what, they're both capturing my attention. They're both very good. So what I'm going to need to do is spend a little time off camera. Wow, that is really, these are really good. I got to spend some time off camera because they're peated. I got to let my palate rest a little bit in between these sips. That was just my initial take. I like them both. I can't really tell you where my preference is right now. That's why I need to take a break. I'm going to rinse in between with some water, let my palate rest, and then when I come back, I will have my order in which one I like the most. Be right back. All right, we are in another situation where it is a flip of a coin. I can see myself drinking both of these at any time. I thought being able to A, B, and B compare them, rinsing off air would give me a little bit of clarity on which one I like the most. And it just complicated things even more. These are both really good pours. So because the finishes are the things that are lingering the longest, so let me tell you the difference between the two finishes. Glass on my left has and I don't know if this is the correct word, but it's the one that's coming to mind. This has a dirty finish. It's a little bit more rugged. It's not as clean or crisp like this. I end up getting a lot of lingering bitterness, but not in a bad way. I'm getting a lot of lingering peat, which is good. It's along the savory side with the burnt meat or the smoked meat or the burnt sugar. And maybe that bitterness is coming across as a burnt sugar. And then the finish on this, it lasts just as long as the one on my left, but I get a more clean, more concise, more crisp finish with oak and vanilla, with a little bit of salt and a little bit of brine. Based on the finish and the taste on the palate, I can see myself wanting to drink this outside at a campfire. I would sit in the living room watching a movie, drinking this one. Outside pour, inside pour, but they're both really good peated offerings. Now on the palate, my brain is heading towards sherry and bourbon. I think this is a sherry influence because I'm getting figs, dates, plums, raisins on the palate, and this is nothing but oak and vanilla. I get sweet tobacco in this one. I get a little bit of chocolate notes in here. This has a little bit more viscosity, a little bit more stickiness to the palate. This is a cleaner drink. It's a cleaner feeling on the palate. It doesn't saturate or soak in or feel like it's sticking. It just has a little bit more of a cleaner crisper, refreshing. Not that a peated scotch is refreshing, but it has just this cleaner notes to it. It's the best way that I can describe it. So if I were to have to drink one right now, again, and you can see there's not a whole lot left in here. So while I am talking about them, just let me get this incorporated so I can do my blend. If I had to have another pour right now, I would go with the pour on my right, but I can see myself reaching for the pour on my left more, because I think there would be more situations where I would reach for this, whether it's being outside in a flight with friends, out by the pool, whatever it is, being outside. And I think I would want to be outside more than inside. So I would think that I would reach for this more, but because of what my palate is telling me right now, I'm preferring the one on my right the most. So if I had to have another drink right now, it would be the one on my right. But going forward, outside, I would think, again, like I had just mentioned, I think I would reach for this one more. And I don't know if I'm not being clear or if I'm not being very decisive. They're both very good. So let's go ahead and figure out what it is that I would want to drink another pour of right now. So the glass number 2, the one on my left, is going to be, I think this is going to make some people angry. This is Ardbeg Uigeadail. Now, before you start flipping out, I know there's a lot of people that love Uigeadail, and so do I. Like I said, I would reach for this, I think, more than this, but today in this flight or blind, I preferred this one more, and I know what this one is. I think this is the Laphroaig. So this is Laphroaig 10. This is the cask strength. Why the heck did I put... Okay, I think I have an idea. I think the Uigeadail is cask strength, or it's pretty high in proof or ABV, and it's bourbon and sherry cask matured. And it's a non-age stated, but I think they use sherry and bourbon in the blend. Laphroaig 10 is 10 years in ex-bourbon. So I think I went sherry and bourbon. And if you've been here for a while, you know that I prefer sherry over other peated finishes, which is surprising that I like this one more today. Well, this is actually the blend. So let me go ahead and grab the bottles really quick. I want to refresh my memory on the specific ABVs and what the price points are when I purchase them. I'll be right back. All right, so Laphroaig on my left, Laphroaig on my right, Ardbeg Uigeadail on the left. So this is, if I didn't say it already, this is batch number 15, and it was bottled December 21st, cask strength 56.5%. And when I purchased this, I paid $88.99. The Ardbeg Uigeadail, this was, or is, 54.2% ABV, and I paid $72.99. So I know Laphroaig comes out every year with the cask strength 10. I'm not sure which batch they're up to, maybe 17? Let me know in the comments down below which cask strength batch they are at currently. Let me know in the comments down below if you are a Laphroaig fan or if you are an Ardbeg fan. If you have done a blind with either of these, let me know how it has turned out. Again, I think I would rather reach for the Ardbeg because of that sherry influence, but there's something about the Laphroaig that hit my palate just right today. And that's the beauty of blinds. You can change your preferences if you don't know what you're drinking based on what you've had to eat earlier that day, what you've been drinking, your mood, even the environment that you're in. It could influence how you're thinking about the nose and the palate. So blinds are interesting. If you have not done blinds, strongly encourage you to do them. Grab 2 of your favorite bottles, have somebody pour them, mix them up for you, and then go through the tasting. I think they're very, very revealing on whether or not you really understand your palate or not. It challenges your brain. It kind of just goes off like crazy and you're trying to figure out exactly what it is you're drinking. And I think it enhances your tasting ability and your nosing ability and the way that you can actually describe different whiskeys. So do some blinds. They're very interesting. All right. I think that is all I have with the exception of the blend. So let's go ahead and get this thing on the nose, see what it's like. Wow, that's interesting. I think I got a sulfur note from this one. I'm picking that up in here as well. Strong on the vanilla. Not much peat to speak of at all. But again, I could be a little bit peat blind now that these have been in the glass for a while. And it's on the palate, it kind of subdues a little bit. Not much sweet coming out. And if I didn't mention it before, there was no spice whatsoever, at least on my palate, with either of these. The brine or the salt doesn't really seem like it's coming out of either. Yeah, I'm getting mostly sulfur, oak, vanilla. Well, that's weird. Okay, let's get this thing on the palate. No, I don't think I like that at all. Actually, I know I don't like that at all. That's funky. Yeah, that's just wet wood that was been put out. A little bit medicinal. There's a lot of bitterness happening on the side of the tongue. And that spice that I mentioned was missing from both is now coming across as a pretty heavily pepper spice, which I don't like. And especially without the sweetness of the vanilla or the sherry influence. Definitely not something that I would do a blend of going forward. Let me know in the comments down below if you've had either one of these. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And until the next time, wherever you are at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.